community safety and correctional services. Ontario's correction system is in a disaster, and our probation and parole system is a joke. Jails are overcrowded, and cell block violence is out of control. Most inmates are held in maximum security without access to rehab programs. Assaults on correctional officers and staff have more than doubled over the past 7 years, and sadly these detention centres are often understaffed and often lack the resources to deal with the violence. Regarding probation and parole, often the only contact between a criminal and probation officer happens when the offender visits the probation office. After the offender leaves, there is little to no follow-up, again because of a lack of resources. Check the report by the Independent Advisor on Corrections Reform if you doubt what I'm saying. The Liberal Party, Speaker, has done nothing to fix the problems in the past 14 years. So, Speaker, to the Minister, why have the Liberals allowed the crisis in corrections to fester so long?
Hear, hear. Community Safety and Correctional Services.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate actually the member of the opposite for his questions this morning, because I want to say thank you to the men and women who works actually and commend them for their enormous work in our institutions all across. We have 26 institutions. Certainly our ultimate goal is a truly modern and compassionate system. Whether it's through working with the Ministry of Health to ensure our healthcare outcomes in our better healthcare outcomes in our system, or through the construction of 2 new facilities in Ottawa and Thunder Bay, which will serve as models of innovation and renewal. I am proud of the progress that we're making, Mr. Speaker, and just so the member opposite actually knows our government's plan to transform Ontario's correction system did not start today. And I want to read a few things that we always tend to forget. We hired over 1,600 new correction officers. We created 60 new mental health nurses. Enhanced mental health.
Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Minister. Speaker, over the weekend, I published an opinion piece on Ontario's crisis in corrections. It appeared in the Toronto Sun, and I shared it on Twitter. I appreciated the favourable responses from correction officers and my constituents, but I was shocked at the fatuous response from the Director of Communications to the Corrections Minister. He broadcast a series of false accusations and personal attacks against me. He deleted his most offensive tweets, but failed to apologize. The conversation can otherwise still be seen on my Twitter feed. I have been on top of this file for years. I have a strong personal relationship with correctional officers, and I have their back, and they have mine. I've spoken about the crisis in corrections many times in this House. To suggest otherwise, Speaker, is preposterous and mendacious. So, Minister, did you instruct your DCOM to reply to my op-ed in that boorish manner, and will you apologize?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I want to continue, and I hear the questions, but I want to continue because the op-ed was referring to what we have not done and this crisis in correction. And I want to say, as I visited institutions in the past months, every single institution that I visit makes reference to actually the track record of this party as to all the cuts and the privatization fail that they've tried. So let's go back to the point here, Mr. Speaker, which is, I have to say, we created 60 new mental health nurses, enhanced our mental health training. We introduced new and improved policies on segregation. And the member opposite and the PC party seem to be capable of uninformed criticism and incapable of putting forward an actual plan. Since the party people have no plan, Mr. Speaker, I can only judge them on their record.
Thank you.